Hello and welcome back to my Pokemon Horizons review series. Today we are reviewing episode 23. Let's get started and I hope you enjoy. So this one was a bit crazy, there's more to go over than I expected, but it starts out with Roy and Liko who have escaped these mines and are recovering at the Pokemon Center. All of a sudden Freed jump scare, he reveals that he got out of there. I didn't really like this, it really took me out of the episode. The whole previous episode did so well in setting up the tension for this battle and setting up the potential Freed and Amiphio team up, and we got none of it. He just says he escaped with no explanation. The only way they recover from this moment is if they reveal a bit later on what happened, that maybe Freed cut a deal with Amiphio or something. Freed says he's happy he came across the Galarian Moltres because it shows he has room to grow, which was such a cool line, but I was still taken out that Freed was even here. Anyway, they make a plan and go to calm the Moltres down as they can't have it roaming around causing trouble. And this is where Liko really starts to take charge and use everything she's learned in Galar. She wants to learn how Moltres feels rather than just to try and defeat it. They go in and they find Moltres right away, and I really love this whole battle sequence. They went in really coordinated. I think this is the best that Liko and Roy have been, probably because they have Freed there to guide them. But they all chipped in and eventually resulting in Sprigatito spiraling up a massive leafage with the help of Charizard and Watchel to try and calm the Moltres down. And Liko even reaches out and asks what's wrong. It was a really nice scene. I do wish Sprigatito maybe learned a new move here or something, or even maybe evolved. Just anything to push it. I'm getting pretty tired of seeing it only use leafage. It's so limited in what it can do. The moment I really liked is where the Arbor comes out of the ancient Pokeball and tries to talk to Galarian Moltres. It made a lot of sense since they all used to travel together with Lucius, and although it didn't fully calm Moltres down, it still helped the leafage, and maybe some grassy terrain shenanigans involved, I'm not too sure. But Moltres is calmed down and notices the pendant, and out comes the damn Terapagos. Moltres seems to recognise it, so I'm sure Terapagos has ties to Lucius as well. Maybe it was his main partner on their travels or something. There was a lot of world building and mystery built upon in this episode, and it was done really well. One thing I've got to say about this whole sequence is the animation went crazy. It all looked really clean every shot and it really had me locked in. And with Moltres calmed down, we get another vision of Lucius and a tiny face reveal from the side of him comforting Moltres, and Moltres agreeing to go along with Liko. So that's another one of the 6 Pokemon gathered, 2 down, 4 to go. And then the big twist for me was that Terapagos is now staying out of the pendant. Well, the pendant seems to have completely disappeared, so maybe that was its shell where it hides. So this thing is basically Liko's Pokemon now, which is pretty insane. The episode ends with them smuggling out Terapagos and they bump into Kabu again, which is super cool to see him recurring. He was just checking in on the mine after hearing about all the damage, and they're trying to get out of there so he doesn't see Terapagos. Then the episode ends off with Amiphio saying he wants to go after Terapagos, so he obviously saw it and knows about it now fully, and he wants to steal it. And damn, what an episode this was. So much happened. This episode was really good. It definitely wasn't perfect. It had some major flaws in my opinion. I think this should have been split up into 2 episodes. Freed and Amiphio escape, regroup with Liko and Roy and set out a plan, and then the next episode they go back in. And I feel like this was a bit rushed, and that's not something we'd often say with Horizons, but the whole beginning of this episode just took me out of it a bit. Also, there was this hype around Freed maybe getting a new Pokemon, which isn't the episode's fault, more so everyone and myself who assumed that image meant it was a new Pokemon. But still, everything else in this episode was fantastic. It had great music, great animation. The whole scene with Lucius was done so well, sets up this mystery even more, and I like that Liko gets a lot of development. This really felt like her arc. She was finally getting some spotlight and becoming a real competent trainer. I think this portion of Galar wrapped up great, but I do wish we saw a bit more, especially regarding the explorers as well. They just kind of disappeared and then show up again at the end. But still, overall this episode wasn't bad. For the most part I'm pretty positive on it, so I'm going to give it a 7 out of 10. Let me know your thoughts. What is your rating? Please like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.